All right. Hello, guys. So we're going to talk about some of the additional factors that certainly had the United States become involved in World War One. So Germany resumes unrestricted submarine warfare. And this really was probably the most major thing, although it's hard to say. This directly affected trade, and trade is good for business. And so the United States was very upset about that. And so this is when you say resumes, it means that they had once excuse me, given up the practice. And so, at first, when Germany was sinking these passenger ships without warning, everything like that, the United States was very vigorously protesting the use of unrestricted submarine warfare. And they eventually convinced the Germans to stop unrestricted submarine warfare um, after they agreed to or when they agreed to the Sussex Pledge. Now, what does this mean to stop unrestricted submarine warfare? It means that passenger ships would not be targeted. Merchant ships would not be sunk until the presence of weapons had been established, and if necessary, by search of the ship. Now, think how long that would take. I mean, and that would be, an entire submarine and their crew just dedicated to stopping and searching a merchant ship. And if they didn't find anything, well, then that was really just an entire waste of time. And then finally, merchant ships would not be sunk without provision for the safety of passengers and crew, meaning that the Germans would have to take them on board and sail them back to the next port. And how much time would that take? And so when they resume unrestricted submarine warfare, by resuming it, all this stuff, big X. Sorry, we're not going to abide by that anymore. We're going to go back to unrestricted. So, too bad for you. And that, of course, really upset the United States. Well, the other major thing was Russia's exit from World War One. Now, you probably know that Russia had terrible military defeats. They were so not understaffed, they were under equipped. They had plenty of people, but just not the proper equipment. And this eventually, along with maybe you've heard of Grigory Rasputin, and other social conditions, eventually kicks the Tsar out of Russia, and of course they're held prisoner and then eventually executed. But the terrible military defeats leads to the Russian Revolution, and Russia is forced to leave World War One. Now they signed a treaty, and this is an important treaty. Russia and Germany agreed to the Brest-Litovsk Treaty, and the Brest-Litovsk Treaty, Russia must give land. In this case, it's the Baltic states, which are these right down here: Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, and Poland, and a few other lands as well, and money, 6 billion German marks in exchange for peace. Russia didn't have much of a choice. They were in a total mess. They agreed to it, and then, of course, they fought the Russian Civil War, but that's another story. Now, again, this is key. Because Russia was a monarchy and not democratic in any way, it would have been hypocritical for the USA to claim to be fighting for freedom when they are allied with a country where individual rights don't exist, being Russia. With Russia out of the war, the United States could now join. Doesn't mean they had to, but it means that the final obstacle or barrier preventing them from joining was removed. And a couple people, you might recognize this guy from the video today. And like you said, it is a real person, Charles Whittlesey. That's what he really looked like. Alvin York, I think there was actually a movie made by him called Sergeant York. York and his men captured 132 enemy soldiers. And he may have single-handedly killed about 20 German troops, and he was awarded the Medal of Honor, Distinguished Service Cross, and several other citations for bravery, and he was a hero upon return. Henry Johnson, a dozen casualties on the Germans, and he did this. He suffered 21 wounds from gunfire and being stabbed by a bayonet, and he survived, and he still um, took out a bunch of the enemy as well. So these are certainly war heroes from World War One. Some notable battles, as you can see here, the Battle of Cantigny. Notice the machine gun they're using, and then of course they have their poison gas masks on. So this is the first long-term or sustained offensive World War One. And this is when the United States, of course, American offensive involving the United States, 4,000 U.S. troops captures the village of Cantigny on the Somme River from the Germans. Then we have the Battle of Belleau Wood, the first large-scale battle fought by American soldiers. And again, this first one was Cantigny was sort of a smaller 4,000. Belleau Wood, in the northwest of Paris roads. On June 26, Americans won, but it cost 10,000 dead, wounded, or missing in action. That is an amazing number. And Battle of Saint Mihiel, again, another use of Americans' forces, the American Expeditionary Force. And again, another very successful operation where Saint Mihiel and the surrounding area, were free from German occupation. All right, that's it for today. Thank you.